time in a person's life when silence grows louder than noise, when the stillness of the room speaks more clearly than the loudest crowd. It's in that quiet moment, often when you're alone, unsure, frustrated, or on the edge of giving up, that something stirs deep within you. It's not just a thought, it's not just a feeling, it's God, and He is trying to talk to you about your future. When God speaks to you about your future, it doesn't always sound like thunder from the heavens. Often it whispers in your heart, it tugs at your soul, it makes you restless in places you used to feel comfortable. Suddenly, the job that once felt secure feels like a cage. The relationship that once seemed right feels wrong. The routine that used to satisfy now feels empty. That is not confusion, that is transition. That is God disrupting your comfort so He can introduce your calling. You see, many people pray for answers, but when God responds, they dismiss it because it doesn't come in the form they expected. They look for signs in the sky, but God sends signals through discomfort, discontent, and divine delay. That uneasiness you feel, that's not the enemy, that's evolution. That's God shaping you into someone who can carry the vision He has for your life. The truth is, God will often speak to you through what seems like opposition. You'll apply for doors and they'll close. You'll plan something and it will fall apart. Not because He's punishing you, but because He's protecting you. Because what you're reaching for now might be good, but God's preparing you for something great, and greatness requires precision, timing, training, character. God won't send you into your future prematurely because He knows premature success can be the enemy of sustained success. So if you're in a season where you feel forgotten, overlooked, or left behind, let me assure you, you are exactly where you're supposed to be, because before God promotes, He prepares. Before He launches, He isolates. He breaks the old version of you so the new version can rise from the ashes. Your frustration is just the fire refining you for the blessing that's on the way. But here's the secret many never realize. When God talks to you about your future, He rarely gives you the whole picture. Instead, He gives you a glimpse, a spark, a vision, an idea. Why? Because if He showed you everything at once, you'd run, you'd panic, you'd think it's impossible. So He leads you step by step, moment by moment. Faith is not knowing the entire planet's trusting the one who made it. Now hear this clearly. Every great future begins with a decision in the present, a decision to believe, to obey, to move. You cannot wait for perfect clarity before taking your first step. God gives you the seed, but He expects you to plant it. He won't do the work for you, but He'll work through you. He'll bless your discipline. He'll multiply your obedience. He'll anoint your consistency. When God talks to you about your future, He isn't just giving you a message. He's giving you a mission. But missions are not for the lazy. They're not for the fearful. They're for the faithful. You have to be willing to walk even when the road looks uncertain. You have to train your spirit to trust even when your mind has questions. You have to say yes to your calling even when your comfort is screaming no, and let me warn you, when you answer the call, not everyone will understand. Some people will doubt you, some will laugh, some will try to talk you out of it. But remember, God didn't speak to them about your future, He spoke to you. Don't expect others to understand a conversation they were never a part of. What God whispered in your spirit is between you and Him, and He didn't give you that vision to entertain you. He gave it to empower you. This is where most people get stuck. They hear from God, but then they look around and let fear drown out the voice of faith. They compare their progress to others. They wait for everything to line up. But waiting for perfection is a form of procrastination. What you must understand is that obedience creates momentum. You won't see the whole staircase, but the next step will be revealed when you take the first one. The people who change the world, the ones who live lives of purpose and impact, are not the ones with all the answers. They are the ones who act boldly on what they know, no matter how small. They move when God says move. They pause when He says pause. They surrender when He says trust. There is a future with your name on it. a destiny that was written before you were born, a plan so divine that it weaves your pain, your mistakes, your detours, and your heartbreaks into something beautiful. But it begins with your yes, not your perfect resume, not your flawless past, just your yes. So when God talks to you about your future, take him seriously, because he's not just informing you, he's inviting you. He's asking you to participate in something far greater than yourself. He's giving you the blueprint, but you must pick up the hammer and build, and you will get tired. You will question the process. You will have moments where you want to quit, but don't, because what he started in you, he will finish. And when the time is right, nothing can stop it. Not the enemy, not your critics, not even your past. You may not see how it all fits together now, but one day you'll look back and realize every delay was divine. Every detour was deliberate. Every closed door was a blessing. And all along, God was preparing you, not punishing you, for the future he called you to. There's something important you must understand. When God speaks about your future, he's not describing a fantasy. He's revealing a promise, but promises are not automatic. They must be pursued. They must be fought for. You have to partner with him through your faith, your work, your prayer, and your persistence. You don't just wait for your future. You work for it. You mold your mind. You discipline your body. You align your habits with your vision. Because destiny isn't something that falls from the sky. It's something you become. You don't find your future. You grow into it. And it starts now, not when you feel ready, not when the world approves, not when you have more money, more followers, or more time. It starts with you deciding, this is it. I will no longer delay the voice of God in my life. I will no longer silence my spirit with distractions. I will no longer play small when I've been called to something mighty. From this moment on, I move differently. I talk differently. I think differently because I know God has spoken. My future has already been written. And it is good. Every morning you wake up, you have two choices: to go back to sleep and dream, or to wake up and chase what God has already shown you. One leads to fantasy, the other leads to fulfillment, and the only difference between the two is what you're willing to do when no one's watching. Because when God talks to you about your future, he's not asking you to daydream about it. He's calling you to become it. But becoming it requires more than belief. It requires breaking away from the version of yourself that was built by fear, by doubt, by trauma, by people who told you what you couldn't be. God doesn't just call the qualified. He qualifies the called. And that means he's going to take you through a process that removes the false layers, the old labels, and the weight of your past so you can finally step into the person he always saw in you. You might not feel ready. You might not feel worthy, but let me tell you something. Your feelings are not the final authority. God's word is, and if he said you're chosen, then you are. If he said you're equipped, then you are. If he said there's more for you, then there is. Your job is not to argue with him. Your job is to agree with him, and that agreement, it shows in your actions. You start walking like the person he's preparing. You start thinking like the person who's been given a glimpse of their calling. You stop waiting for signs and start becoming one. You stop living for the approval of people who don't even believe in purpose. You stop shrinking yourself to fit into rooms God never called you to sit in. You start protecting your mind. You start feeding your faith. You start waking up earlier. You start staying up later. You stop wasting time on what drains you and start investing it into what builds you. Because every minute matters when you understand that eternity has already been stamped on your name. This isn't just about success, it's about legacy. This isn't just about progress, it's about alignment. And yes, it will cost you. It will cost you old habits. It will cost you excuses. It will cost you temporary pleasures and unworthy attachments, but what you gain in return will outweigh it all. You gain clarity. You gain power. You gain peace. Not the kind the world gives, but the kind that anchors your soul in the storm and whispers, "Keep going. I'm still with you." See, most people think that when God talks about your future, it means everything will be easy. That's not the truth. What it means is that everything will be worth it. He's not offering you comfort. He's offering you character. He's not promising a smooth path. He's promising strength for the path. He's not handing you a throne. He's handing you a towel and asking, "Will you serve first?" Because your future is not just about where you're going. It's about who you become along the way. God is far more interested in your development than your arrival. He knows that a rushed destiny is a ruined destiny, so he will delay you to mature you, he will hide you to humble you, he will stretch you to strengthen you, and as you walk this journey, there will be days when you feel like you've made no progress. But what you don't see is that every day you remain faithful, even when you're tired, even when you're frustrated, even when you're confused. You're building something invisible that will soon become unshakable. Every day you choose purpose over pleasure. You're proving that you're ready for the next level. You don't get promoted by force. You get promoted by faithfulness. The test comes before the title. The pressure comes before the promise. The breaking comes before the blessing. And if you can stay true when no one is clapping for you, if you can keep moving forward when nothing seems to be working, if you can stay planted when your emotions want to run, you're already winning. Because when God talks to you about your future, he's not just seeing what you could do. He's seeing what you're willing to do. Will you obey when it's inconvenient? Will you trust when it's unclear? Will you build when no one believes in you? Will you keep showing up when it looks like nothing is happening? That's what separates those who almost step into their destiny and those who fully walk into it. And you, yes, you are being watched, not by people but by heaven. You're being tested in how you handle what you have, so God knows you can handle what you're asking for. If you can't manage the small, how will you handle the great? If you complain in the wilderness, how will you handle the weight of the promised land? So God talks to you about your future not to tease you, but to train you. He gives you glimpses to stir your hunger, not to satisfy it. He gives you vision, then hands you a shovel, not a throne, and says, "Dig." Because greatness is hidden beneath layers of ordinary. Purpose is buried beneath consistency. And if you stop when it's hard, you'll never see what was waiting just a little deeper down. This is how God prepares his leaders. This is how he refines his chosen, not with ease, but with encounters. Encounters that shape you. Encounters that expose your fears so you can replace them with faith. Encounters that interrupt your plans so you can discover his. Encounters that pull you out of the crowd and into isolation, not because you're being rejected, but because you're being redirected. And while everyone else is chasing attention, chasing followers, chasing fame, God is calling you to become different, to walk away from the noise, to lock in, to build in silence, to pray in the dark, to fast when no one knows, to read, to study, to prepare, because when the doors open, you won't have time to get ready. You must already be ready. God talks to you about your future now, so you can become it before the world ever sees it. The question is, will you answer the call or will you silence it? Will you continue living like nothing is at stake? Or will you rise like the chosen one you are? Let others waste time. You don't have that luxury. Let others doubt. You don't have that option. Let others settle. You weren't built for that. You were built for the extraordinary, built for impact, built for breakthrough, built to carry what others couldn't, built to endure what others ran from. You were made in the fire to walk through the fire and come out shining, not burnt. So when God speaks, don't hesitate, don't negotiate, don't delay. Step into the unknown with the full faith that the one who called you already went ahead of you. Every step you take is guided, every sacrifice you make is seen, Every tear you cry is counted. Every doubt you battle is being turned into, and every battle you're facing now is not without purpose. It's building the kind of endurance that your future will demand. Because the future God talks to you about is not given to the faint-hearted. It's given to the one who learns how to wrestle in the dark, how to praise in the pain, how to trust when trust feels foolish. The one who refuses to quit when quitting seems logical, that's who receives the promise. Sometimes when God talks to you about your future, he won't just give you a dream, he'll give you a burden, a weight, a responsibility. It's not meant to break you, it's meant to awaken you, because your future isn't just about what you get. It's about what you give, it's about who you lift as you rise, it's about how your obedience unlocks the doors for someone else. You're not just answering your calling, you're making it easier for someone behind you to say yes to theirs. So God will strip away distractions. He'll pull back the curtain on people who don't belong in your next season. He'll shut down opportunities that seem right to your eyes but are wrong for your soul. He'll make you wait, not to torment you, but to prepare the stage for a divine appointment that cannot be stolen, cannot be stopped, and cannot be duplicated. But while you wait, what will you do? Will you worship or will you worry? Will you sharpen your gift or sit in self-pity? Will you prepare like it's coming or complain like it's not? Because waiting is not wasting when God is the one holding the clock. Time in his hands is not your enemy, it's your ally. Every delay is a layer of protection. Every setback is a setup. Every closed door is a redirection that keeps you aligned with what's eternal instead of what's emotional. Your timeline is not being ignored. It's being orchestrated, and when God speaks again, and he will, you'll notice it feels more familiar. His voice will cut through the noise with precision. His instructions won't always make sense, but they will make impact. He may tell you to walk away from what the world calls secure. He may tell you to sow into something that looks barren. He may ask you to forgive someone who doesn't deserve it. That's because he's not just teaching you how to succeed. He's teaching you how to submit. You cannot walk into the future he promised with the mindset of who you used to be. That's why he renews your thinking. He disrupts patterns. He exposes pride. He humbles your ego, not to embarrass you, but to equip you. Because your destiny requires maturity. Power without wisdom is destruction. Visibility without integrity is collapse. God will build your character deeper than your dreams can reach, so when he elevates you, you won't fall. And don't forget, every time you obey, even when it costs you, you are voting for your future. Every time you say no to temptation, every time you stay silent instead of clapping back, every time you serve when no one is looking, heaven is recording it. You are proving that you're not just wishing for the future God spoke over you. You're walking toward it. You don't need to manipulate your way forward. You don't need to chase what's not yours. You don't have to network your way into rooms that God can open with one whisper. He knows your name. He sees your work. He understands your heart. And when the moment comes, he won't ask anyone's permission to bless you. He's not moved by numbers. He's moved by faith. He's not impressed by noise. He honors obedience. He doesn't need you to be popular. He needs you to be positioned. So keep positioning your life for what he said. Keep aligning your actions with his vision. Keep listening even when it's quiet. Keep moving even when it's slow. Keep believing even when your emotions betray you, because the future God talks to you about. It's not just a possibility, it's a promise, and promises from heaven come with power, not the kind that flaunts itself, but the kind that sustains you when nothing else can, the kind that breaks every chain, defeats every generational curse, silences every lie, and lifts you higher than anyone ever expected you to go. You were not born to blend in. You were not chosen to stay safe. You were not designed to play small. There is something different about you, something sacred, something marked, that voice that keeps pulling you to more. That's God saying, what I've placed in you is bigger than what surrounds you. Now rise to meet it. Ignore the critics. Starve the doubt, kill the fear, keep going. God is still talking, and as you journey forward, don't underestimate the power of anticipation. There is a sacred electricity in expectation, an energy that stirs your spirit and aligns your steps. Expectation without preparation is presumption, but anticipation honed by discipline becomes a magnet for miracles. So cultivate holy anticipation. Rise each morning with the sense that something divine is about to break through. Remember, God often speaks most clearly in the ordinary moments. The quiet in your heart as you brush your teeth, the stillness as you sit in traffic, the pause between inhaling and exhaling. Those are the doorways to heaven's whispers. Learn to listen in the mundane, because that's where faith is forged and destiny is designed. You will face storms, winds of criticism, rains of rejection, earthquakes of personal crisis. But know this, storms are not the end of the story. They are the sculptors of resilience. They teach you to anchor deeper, to lean harder into prayer, to fix your eyes on the unshakable promise beyond the turmoil. When the winds howl, they only make the tree that's truly rooted in God stand taller. And don't forget to celebrate the small breakthroughs. Each answered prayer, every moment of clarity, every victory over a lie you once believed. These are your signposts. They remind you that even when the mountain seems immovable, each step up its face matters. Every small triumph paves the way for the next great leap. Let your life be marked by courageous faith, faith that dares to step out when reason says stay in, faith that not only hears the voice of God but echoes it through obedience, faith that chooses the narrow path even when the broad road beckons with its false allure of comfort. Keep pressing into that still, small voice. Keep responding to its summons. Keep showing up in the unseen places. Because one day soon, you will move so seamlessly into the destiny God revealed to you that others will ask, "How did you do it?" And you will simply smile and say, "I listen, let this moment be the turning point where you stop merely hearing God and begin fully heeding Him, where you move beyond dreams into deeds, beyond whispers into worshipful action. Your future is not a distant possibility, but a present invitation to step into the extraordinary life already ordained for you. Today, refuse to settle for comfort when you've been called to courage. Refuse to stall in fear when faith demands forward motion. Stand firm in the promise, labor with relentless passion, and trust that every step taken in obedience draws heaven's power into your purpose. Now go, and become everything God spoke you would be.